Hey, everybody. Yep, there we go. We always clap to start. Hey, everybody. Welcome to And Another Thing. I am so stoked today to have a guy that I've loved, admired, just looked up to, and really built a lot of my ministry based on the things that I watched this guy do. He's like a big brother to me in the music industry and in ministry. We're blessed to have Shane Barnard with us. What's up, Shane?
Hey, guys. How are you? Great to be on, man.
Shane, is it weird to do an interview like this without Shane Everett? Like, do you feel empty and naked without our guy Everett in the house?
You know, harmony's it's important. You know, it's super important. And yeah, without the harmony guy, it's hard. It's hard. It's
Do you
hard
get
to exist.
tired of him trying to upstage you by singing higher than you? Does that wear on you after a while?
No. I feel like ever since the operation, he's been singing pretty high, and it's like I think it's like total to my benefit. It's like having a female singer. It's awesome.
Yeah. All right. Shout
You know
out
what
to
I mean?
Shane Everett. The guy is amazing, though. For real. I
Yes.
know you two guys are unbelievable together, but there are times when I watch Everett do things that I go, I don't think God even knows how he's doing that. You know, like God's like, hey, Peter, come check this out. I didn't put that in him. How's he doing that? You know, it's crazy.
Shane, all of his A gifts. The funny thing is the dude has never once in his life sang or played an instrument because he wanted to.
Huh.
Not once.
It was all just because there was a need.
It was all because in high school he was chasing chicks,
Okay.
and then in college he was in a bar band paying for school, and then he got saved in a bar.
Okay.
Waiting to get paid. Lights came on in the bar. Lights came on in his heart.
Wow.
And then he jumped in a car with me, and we started singing the Bible. But all of his A gifts they're massive, and the fact that he's not with me here is amazing because he's off doing all the things that he's really good at.
Yeah, man, I love that guy. Both of you guys are just amazing together. Like, honestly, it's cool to see how you guys complement one another. And in a lot of ways, Dana and I, that's kind of how we've done ministry over the years.
Yeah.
All the things that I'm not, she is. And all the things that she's not, I am. And it's just cool to see how God put us together. And God gave you a husband as well. That was really sweet of him,
Totally, man.
No,
you just told me, which I knew it was some crazy number like this, but you guys are celebrating your 25th.
Yes, 25 years. I know. We got married.
We were there in Louisiana when you guys were newly married.
That's right.
I mean,
that's right. So we got married in 99. When did we meet?
Which is right. Yeah, it's right around then. It was right somewhere right in there.
Seriously. Yeah. And so y'all met at A&M, is that right? You and Shane?
Yeah.
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 And what year was that?
97.
That's amazing.
We met. Yeah.
That's amazing. I refuse to be old. I refuse.
Are you looking good? You don't have any grays in your beard?
Well, I put a lot of dye in it. That's what
okay.
Yeah, I'm more vain than you, apparently.
Okay, yeah, I don't do that. Teach me your ways.
Yeah. So, dude, we're in this series in our church called The Stories Behind the Psalms. And one of the first people I thought about interviewing for this series was you, because I think one of the first records you guys put out was called Psalms. I remember it, the green CD with it just said Psalms. It wasn't like super fancy, but dude, everybody in my friend group, we wore those CDs out, dude.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So you've been fascinated by the Psalms for forever. So what's up with that? Why are you so fascinated with them? What do you love about them?
Yeah, I think it came out of necessity. So the year or the couple year span that I wrote that record, I wasn't writing for a record. I was flopping around in a fetal position, uh, most days, and just crying a lot and crying out to God a lot. And the Psalms were really helpful in that.
Hmm.
Psalm 143, Psalm 118, Psalm 145, Psalm 13, Where Are You, God? I mean, I was flopping around. I had like a 2-year season where, I didn't, growing up, I didn't even know what anxiety was or whatever. My body was falling apart. My heart had these big palpitations, and I ended up literally in the mountains of New Mexico alone, at this spooky little camp alone, and just flopping around and clinging to the Psalms, singing them back to God.
Hmm.
And then that season ended in an instant. And then I moved to Dallas and made a Psalms record.
Huh.
So it was out of necessity, really. I mean, singing the Psalms has helped me have a language with the Lord. It's taught me how to pray. It's taught me how to communicate with Him in ways that I didn't think you could communicate with Him before. Yeah. I didn't grow up reading the Bible, so like all that was new in my late 20s.
Okay.
And so I was sold. I was sold on Him, and so I it's where I personally go to have a prayer language with the Father. And it's been real helpful.
Yeah. One of the things that I think is just fantastic about the Psalms, that the first week of this series, we did Psalm 24, which, it's the year 2024. So it's a little bit corny to do that, but it was the last Psalm that he ever wrote. Like chronologically, that the Psalms are not in an order of when they were written, but 24 was the last Psalm historians believe that he ever wrote. And you can just hear him trying to build for himself a legacy, something that would last beyond himself. And when you go back and look at his last public address and his last private moment, that's what he was consumed with. David was thinking about these things that I've spent my whole life building. I want them to live beyond me. And what's funny is none of the things that he had set up to live beyond him actually did. The only thing from David's life that actually really, besides his sort of legend or what people think about him, but the thing that has lasted the longest has been his Psalms, his communication with God. And like you're saying, Shane, it teaches us that it's okay to not be okay, that it's okay to be unhinged, and to be like frustrated with the injustice of the world, and to look to God and say, are you going to do something about this? Like all of that kind of stuff in the Psalms is really the legacy of Christianity, because it teaches us that it's okay to be human, that God's not expecting us to be anything but human. And I think that's so powerful,
For sure.
Yeah. So tell me about, I've never asked you this. I'm actually really curious to hear. What's your process when you sit down with a Psalm? Because it's not like they're all super rhymey, or really even sometimes, I mean, you could have sections of a Psalm that totally make sense together, and then a total left turn, and then come back to this place of reverence and worship. But so how do you take a Psalm that does all of those things and turn it into a coherent song that you can then sing? What's been your process for that, lyrically, musically, all that?
Yeah, man. It's not super easy, I'm doing a couple things right now. What makes a little bit more sense is let's sing Psalm 139 word for word. And I'm doing that right. I'm going to try to do that. I'm on verse 9, but I'm also actually this morning I was trying to write a song through Psalm 24.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so my process these days is Spurgeon's commentary through the Psalms has influenced me so much.
Okay.
That that I can't, I literally can't even start until I just read through his commentary, because I'm like, what treasure am I going to miss? Like, it's called The Treasury of David. It's fantastic. I don't even know how I got it. Somebody in my house, I don't know if it was a gift from someone or my parents, but I had these huge volumes, these 3 huge volumes of this commentary through the Psalms. And like the letters were so tiny and they were kind of crooked.
Oh,
But once I got into it for 15 minutes, I'm like, this guy is an artist. Like, he is a creative, and he uses the Psalms to like systematically teach through the whole Bible. So it's really interesting. And he's always bringing Jesus into the equation. He's always bringing that, when Jesus is walking on the road to Emmaus and he's like, hey, the whole book's about me, the whole thing.
yeah.
And so Spurgeon's always trying to find Jesus in the Psalms, which I'm trying to do that, and come to find out, a ton of commentators see actually Psalm 24 as a very messianic psalm.
Wow. Yeah.
Let that I always
and that bit, open up you gates, open up you gates.
Open up ye gates. Yeah. That, I was reading this morning on several folks of like, there's a lot of folks that were like, yeah, that's when the ark was coming up to the gates of Jerusalem. And it's like, open up you gates, come awake, open up you gates, you ancient gates, open up you ancient doors, let the King of Glory come in. And, that might have been what it looked like in that moment. But commentators believe, especially since that was said twice in Psalms 24, that there was like the King of Glory, mighty in battle, was Jesus Christ, who fought the battle of sin, death, and hell, and was victorious, came out of the grave. The heavenly gates were opened, and he went in. So that moment happened. And then the second one, it alludes to like it's like, who is this King of Glory? The Lord of hosts, which it doesn't say that the first time. Right. So it's like the King of the angel army is coming back again, and this thing is going to get all worked out. And then, hey, heavenly gates open up one more time, and let's do this thing again. New heavens, new earth, New Jerusalem, all that. So anyway, I geek out on stuff like that. And so I wrote a chorus this morning. It was like, who is this? Who is this? Who is this King of Glory? Jesus, strong and mighty. Who is this? Who is this? Who is this King of Glory? It's real simple. Jesus, strong and mighty.
Yeah, dude. And another thing exclusive. Wow, you're treating us, man. That's amazing.
Well, I just like, that's the process. And so I was just, it's all like, it feels like the chorus of that song is like all there, except I think bringing Jesus into it is like, it's a special thought, an appropriate thought. Totally. And so, and I have some beginnings of verses to try to like, okay, how do you, that part's hard because there's, like you said, there's like Psalms just go, they just switch directions on you.
Yeah.
And so how do you represent a Psalm? Who knows? I mean, they're probably, I find myself like, I'm writing another version of like Psalm 63. I'm writing another version of Psalm 90, Psalm 139. So they're probably, we probably just need to have a bunch of them representing different nuances of these Psalms,
That's so cool. When I preach Psalm 24, and I don't think this is necessarily exactly what was meant when that little section was written about the 2 different sections. But what I talked about was that if David is standing at an ancient gate, and he was used to that in Jerusalem, the gates that would protect harm from getting in, he would say to the gates of heaven, open up, you ancient gates, and let the King of Glory enter in. And then he would say to the gates of Jerusalem, open up, you ancient gates, and let the King of Glory enter in. So it's not enough that the King of Glory has been released from heaven. At some point, we have to open ourselves up to receive the King of Glory, to let Him come in here. So it's like, so I talked about there being two sets of gates, and very often the things that we put up around our hearts to keep harm out also keeps help out, because we don't allow the Lord into those places of our soul. We don't allow Him in
Mm-hmm.
do ministry in the places where we're hurting. We just say, I'm going to hold this because if I open it up, more harm will get in. And I think the message there is like, open up, let the King of Glory enter in, and open up, let the King of Glory enter in. And so that's the way I kind of applied that piece. But I like what you're saying too. I think there's a lot of room for all kinds of interpretation. Who knows what David was thinking about when he wrote that? But it's a beautiful thought.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
good.
Well, so I mean, we can have it on record, but I want to help you finish writing that song. So let's work on it together. All right. So which of the Psalms, not necessarily your version of the Psalms, but which of the Psalms would you say have been like mile markers in your life? When you look back, you go, man, that Psalm that tells the story of this part of my life, and that Psalm, as I know you've been living in these things for so many years. So what are the mile marker Psalms for you?
um, I think this, like a prayer that I had, and starting when I was a new believer in my 20s, um, and I started bumping up against the fall. Psalm 143 and others have this language of, Lord, revive me for your name's sake.
Mm,
This is on you. This is on you. And that was a cry of my heart for a long time. And then Psalm 73, which we've worked on a Psalm 73 song. I don't think we've ever finished it, but we did work on it. We need to finish it. Psalm 73 is landed in several songs that I've written. That kind of culminates into I think, verse 25. Who do I have in heaven but you? The earth has nothing I desire but you. My heart may fail, my flesh may fail, but you are the strength of my heart and my portion forever.
mm,
Um, as for me, the nearness of God is my good. All of
mm.
that kind of language, which is really similar to I shall not want.
Nice.
It's really similar to that. I wear this shirt every day. I have like 20 of them. Thank you,
I was
thank you,
wondering about
Shane.
that. I always see you wearing that shirt on Instagram, and I'm
Yeah,
like, they can't
thank you,
buy
Shane and
Shane more
Shane.
shirts. Like,
No, I
my
don't want
man
it.
shirts.
It's kind of like my tattoo, because I'm scared, because I'm old and freckly and I don't want to tattoo. I mean, I do want a tattoo, but I'm scared. This is like, it's those kinds of things that I want to remember. It's the Psalm 73s, the Psalm 23 verse 1s, that I want to wake up and go, I have everything I'm looking for
Yeah,
in knowing the shepherd. Like, I don't have to want anymore. I'm free. Like, I'm free. If I believe, if this is all real and I believe it, which I think to me it all is, then I am completely free to lay down my life for my wife and my four daughters, my women's ministry, and Shane, and my coworkers and my neighbors. I'm free. I'm free with no expectation of return, because I
mm,
have my return. I have it.
yeah,
I have it. It's not a game. I have my return. I know the shepherd. Even in the valley of the shadow of death, I don't have to fear, because he's with me. And if he's with me, then I'm okay. And so I'm super forgetful. So like, I'm like a fish. So like 15 minutes from now, I'm gonna like walk into a bathroom and be like, oh, that's right. I know Jesus.
huh.
And because I know Jesus, I have everything. I'm
Mm,
an heir of God, a co-heir with Christ, and everything in him is mine. Like, it's laughable what we spend our hours on.
Yeah.
when what we have is everything. We have
Hmm.
everything. There's not like a next level when you're a co-heir with Christ. So that's helped me live a life of surrender, because like now it's all about, Lord, live through me, be my life. I got the life I live. I don't even live it anymore.
Hmm.
I live it by faith in the Son of God who loved me. And those Psalms have really helped, like bring to life Paul's letters, of like, I count everything as rubbish compared to the surpassing greatness of knowing Christ Jesus. Well, those
Hmm.
cries are in the Psalms, and they're, I mean, more than helpful. They're just daily forming in how I think and how I live.
Yeah. Amen.
Anyway, those little handful of Psalms have been really helpful.
We need to send this snippet to Bono because he still hasn't found what he's looking for. And
Maybe
maybe,
he has. He's been looking for a while.
yeah, I know, but yeah, he's been looking for a long time. Yeah. Um, so, okay, so you're working on a new Psalms project now. Tell the people about what you guys did last year. I think it's so cool helping those young kids kind of go through the same process that you went through. You're disciple making. I mean, you're multiplying. It's so cool.
Yeah. So at the Worship Initiative, we have different levels of songwriting. From like, we do several different songwriting retreats, and then you can submit songs at the Worship Initiative, and then we have a program once a year in the summer where we have about 15 spots, and so we bring folks in this year from, I think, 5 countries,
Wow.
to come in for 6 weeks and study the Psalms, like hardcore deep dive, and learn about worship ministry a little bit, but it's really like an intensive get in God's word in community, and then write songs from God's word. And then, the last couple of weeks, uh, I get to be a part of helping make a record out of that. And so we did that last year and made a record called Psalms at the Well,
Mm,
with students who average age was probably 21. There was
wow.
17-year-olds and there was 23-year-olds. And so maybe, yeah, 2021 was the average age, and it was phenomenal. It was
Hmm.
phenomenal. And so we're doing that. And then, we are, we just finished, a record called Vintage 2, which is like, the songs that maybe you and I, um, when we were first coming to know the Lord's, were singing. And so, a couple of Rich Mullins covers, and
Yeah.
Amy Grant covers, and that's coming out, I think, this Friday. And
Oh,
so
so cool.
that's always it's always a fun thing for me to do, because like all those, like there's this song called "It's So Nice to Get to Know You."
Hmm.
It's so nice to get to know you. It's so nice to get to know you. It's so nice to get to know you as my friend.
Mm.
You know? It's just this little. I mean, it's the first song that I learned to play and sing, and it's a song that I almost like sing myself into eternal life,
Hmm.
because like I did not know at that moment in a little youth group that I snuck away to because my parents weren't believers.
Hmm.
I didn't know that I could know the Lord. Like that was like, it was mind blowing. So it's little songs, little treasures like that, that I get to kind of return to and kind of put a
Who
little
wrote
meaning.
that song?
I had to find that out. It's a person that I've never heard of, and I freaking remember the name.
Okay.
I actually only sang the chorus of the song, which the song has verses and stuff too, but I didn't know those things. It was just a
I
little
mean,
voice.
that's pre-Passion. That's pre-Sam Perry, even, right?
That is, yes. So that was probably an early '80s tune.
Yeah.
So like 20 years pre-Passion.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, I want to tell a story about you before we go. So when Dana and I were at Vanguard Church in Colorado Springs, I was the worship pastor there, and we were trying to. There's a couple of really formative moments I've had with you, Shane. I remember like in 2006 or seven, we were doing an event together, and I cornered you, and I said, "Hey, I." I'm sure I didn't say it like this, but the sentiment was, I think I can do what you're doing, and people need to know about me. And so,
Mhm.
how does that happen? How do I make sure that people find out about me, and so I can do what you're doing? That's not the way I phrased it, but that's what was
Yeah.
in my heart. 100%. That's the question I was asking, you know. And your answer was, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know how we got here. We don't know how it happened, and here we are. So I don't know. Pray. And I was like, that did not help me in any way. But the more I thought about what you said in response to that, the more I understood. It's about faithfulness. It's about obedience to what the Lord is asking you to do. It's not about thinking about what's next and how you're going to get somewhere. It's about being where you are. And I think you've done that really, really well for your entire ministry career and inspired people and encouraged people. So that's the first story I want to tell. Do you remember that at all? Do you remember me asking you that question at all? I'm sure you probably
I
don't. I
know.
bet you
Probably,
asked you that, right?
yeah, and probably because in that season it was like it was a full time job answering that, and I got a little bit more direct as the years went on, and my response turned into like, so what you're saying is you want to do what I do, and then I would finish it up with a similar thing of like, bro, don't do it. I mean, it even got worse. It's just like, don't. You don't want stages and you don't want people clapping. You just don't. Hey, believe me, like lead a Bible study, sing some songs to Jesus, enjoy Jesus, but just don't do it. Seriously.
And but why would you say that? Because you experienced the sort of dark side of it. Is that why you're saying that?
I mean, gosh, if you want to like just do a just do a little Google search on how that's worked out for folks,
Yeah,
how the stage has worked out for folks.
right.
It's that's a really easy thing to find out. And the flesh loves the stage. I mean,
Yeah,
you
man.
know, it's just great. And that's the problem, right? That's the age old problem. And so like my oldest Lucy, she is a freak show prodigy. I don't even know what to do with it. But I'm like, please Lord, let her love coffee so much that she wants to be a barista for the rest of her life. Send her Lord to Honduras. Because I know I've been there and I feel the weight of the applause of man and the and all of the cancer of wanting to please man instead of wanting to please God. And so anyway, I think that it's awesome calling. I think it's an awesome thing to do. I think God is able to keep you from stumbling. Um, Man,
Yeah, dude. And guess what? Even as a senior pastor, I think all of that ambition and all of that desire for success and growth and this like thing inside of people and also it's inside of me that like wants to prove something to someone. I don't even really know who, but that thing just kind of it's like that's the part of our flesh that is constantly brought to bear whenever the Lord makes a calling on someone's life to do something like this job that I'm doing or the job that you're doing. And my entire music career, songwriting career, worship leading career, artist career, that's been just kind of icky and gross for me to try to figure it out. So I totally reckon, like, I totally resonate with what it is you're saying for sure.
Yeah.
The second story I want to tell about you, it regards this right here. Speaking of stages and shows, this is the GMA Music
Oh,
in the Rockies
yeah.
2000, 2008. Um, so Dana and I submitted a song to this thing called Music in the Rockies, which was at that point kind of a little bit of a proving ground. Like if you want to get discovered, this is where you'll get discovered, like that kind of a thing. And it was in Estes Park, Colorado that year, and we didn't know you guys were going to be there. And we submitted a song, and there was like, I don't know, a couple thousand songs submitted, and then they narrowed it down to 20, and we were in the 20, and we were shocked to find that out. And then they narrowed it down to 3, and we were in the 3, and then we got told Shane and Shane are hosting the presentation of the song of the year or whatever. And we had performed the song for Eddie DeGarmo and what's his name? Do you know
Yeah.
the other?
Yeah.
What's
Mr.
his
Key.
first name? Yeah, I know it's Eddie DeGarmo, but I don't know what Key's first name is. Do
Uh,
you?
yeah.
Yeah, I
No,
don't know
don't
it
know.
either. Sorry. Shout out to you, Key. I don't know your name. I apologize. And then there was somebody else. I think it was like a record industry president of some such company. Anyway, we performed the song and we absolutely botched it. Like it was the worst performance of Ascend to Heaven that's ever been heard. And it was so bad. And we were spatting with each other, me and Dana and Sean, all afternoon. We're like, it was your fault and you messed it up. And like our egos were just like, here they are. Here's our ego. There it is. If you want to see it. Anyway, so we were certain we were going to lose. And then you and Shane came out and you're walking out on stage and you looked right at me and this is the face you made. You went, and you just held that face for a long time. And I was like, he's making fun of us for losing. That's what I thought you were doing. He's making fun of us. Like you really thought you were going to do this, didn't you? And then Everett goes, Richie Fike! And we were just freaking out. Anyway, such a formative moment. Like, and anyway, I'll just never forget that moment. It's like an amazing moment. And then after the show, we performed the song, and then we were like backstage, and you gave Dana a wet willy, and that's what we remember. That's what we remember
I
about
told
that
Shane that.
performance.
I told Shane that. And he was like, there's no way you did that. And I'm like, I know. I know I didn't do it. Because at that time, right around that time, I was realizing, bro, I'm serious. Which doesn't make any sense that it was after the show because I have all these stories from taking Ambien because I had to drive the bus in the morning and I couldn't sleep. I have people come up to me and tell me stuff like that I've done, bro. I mean, it's I can't even say them. I mean, it's been like so. I'm so sorry, Dana. I'm forever. I'm just. I
Oh,
can't
we
believe we
we
did
laugh
that.
about it. We laugh about it because she just goes, yeah, I think Shane really likes me. And I said, why? And she said, well, do you remember when he gave me a wet willy? And I was like, he what? And so anyway, it's funny, but that was a formative moment. And
It's,
then
it was uh, it's
go ahead.
batting down the hatches. Batting down the hatches, dude. That got me.
Yeah, that you are one of 7 people on the planet who like that
Dude,
song, and I appreciate it,
yeah,
man.
I jammed that song 2 years straight. That's
Really?
probably why. Oh yeah, heck
That's,
yeah.
that's
Y'all
amazing.
record. I assume probably that was your first record.
Yeah,
Um,
the face down record. Yeah, shout out to Ben Kennedy. Yeah,
yeah,
man.
so groovy and chunky, like all rhythmic, and your smoky voice and Dana's amazing. Like y'all were amazing.
That's so
Yeah, I
sweet.
was
I know what's funny is "Batten Down the Hatches" is the song I wrote to impress Dana to get her to go on a date with me. So that's where me and Shane Everett are like in the same ballpark. I literally was like trying to figure out how to get this girl to pay attention to me. And so I wrote some songs, and that was one of them, and she liked it. And I was like, oh, you do? You like it? Okay. And so that's how I got her to go out with me. So yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So those are two. And I guess the third, the third moment that's really impressed me, I want you to tell the people about, the stairwell at Worship Initiative. Because, okay, if you've ever seen anything online with Worship Initiative, friends, you've seen it's a very impressive place, big old studio, beautiful studio, really cool area with a lot of guitars, like rooms that just feel like a lot of heart and soul went into it. And so I came and drove to write a song with you, and you took me to a place that I never thought I would go. And so I just want you
Yeah.
to tell people about what is the magic in this stairwell. Tell me about it.
Well, you know, everyone knows. I mean, you've sang in the bathroom. That's why people sing in the shower.
Yeah.
Like everybody knows there's something that happens. There's like a filter that comes off when you're in a place that has some natural reverb. You may not even know it's natural reverb, but it's like something's different here. I can lift my voice. So that's the stairwell. The stairwell is, as you know, it's think of a fire escape. It's not even. I mean, it's pipes
Right.
and concrete and bugs and fluorescent lights, and it just happens to be like a 5 second trail on the reverb, you know. So like, I go in there. It used to be the men's restroom in my church, but like that's too far, you know. Now it's just the stairwell is just right there, and the whole building, my poor building, because you know, we're right in the middle. It's like 8 floors, and we're on the fourth floor, and you know, between me and Davey, because Davey is on our floor too, and it's just I can feel sorry for this place because it's like I mean I've been shut down. I've been like, hey, we're just trying to have a meeting, and you just yeah, you just I mean you know when we were in there writing that song, which I love that song that happened. But yeah, it's I think I've really learned. I think the point of it all is like finding a place that's inspiring. You know, for some people that's outside. Like for my wife,
Yeah.
she gets most inspired on walks. Like she writes most things on walks. I'm not that good or smart or anything. And so like it might be. I remember picking up a mandolin, googling like, okay, here's the 1 4 5, you know, and it all of a sudden a song happened because it was like, whoa, this is like a whole new thing. Maybe half of what I write these days is from the piano because, and I'm not a great piano player, but just like enough to like, just because it's inspiring. And
Yeah.
so like that's what the farewell is. It's just inspiration.
That's so cool. Yeah. It was inspiring. We were sitting on cajones in a, you're right. It was more like a fire escape. And it
Mm-hmm.
sounded unbelievable. I was like, this is the best, song that's ever been written, right here
I know
in
they
this
all.
place.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's like every song's the best song in the stairwell.
Yeah. Yeah. You almost have to go out of the stairwell to see, is this a song? Right.
Totally, totally.
Well, man, I appreciate your friendship, Shane. I seriously, dude, I look up to you. I admire you. I appreciate you. And I just pray blessings on you and your ministry and your women's ministry there in your home. I love that. That was a good line. And man, if you ever are in Monument, Colorado, you know that you have a place to go. We would love to have you come and be a part of what we're doing at the Movement Church. And we think of you as family. So, bro, God bless you. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks, brother. Pleasure.
Next week, I'm excited, and Shane, you should tune in for this. It'll be a fun one. We're going to have Travis Ryan, and Matt
Oh,
Hooper, who those are the guys that we wrote "We Believe" together. Which, by the way, you guys have recorded and put on one of the Worship Initiative recordings, and we all of us love that recording. Like when we talk about what are the best recordings of "We Believe," that's in the top 5, we think. I won't say where the Newsboys version ranks, but but anyway, those guys will be with us next week for another episode of And Another Thing. God bless you. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks so much for joining us. So what is God leading you to do next? And how can we help? Join us. Send us an email at info@movementchurch.co and tell us how we can be praying for you and help you take your next step in your spiritual journey. If you'd like to contribute financially to our ministry, text any amount that you'd like to give to the number 84321 or look us up online. You can find themovementchurch.co on all social media platforms, and we hope that you'll give us a like or a follow. Keep in touch with us and let us keep in touch with you. Remember, God is for you, and so are we.